Hello, this is Rich and Poor, a channel all about money. Malaysia has close to 5,000 kilometers of coastline. There are vast, unused lands within the border. However, there is a lingering question for Malaysians. Why does the authority continue to carry out land reclamation despite having a huge amount of empty land? These projects will cause severe damage to the marine ecosystem and coastal area recreation. Are they even necessary? Is there anything fishy behind it? In this video, we will discuss this issue by citing a special case. On the artificial islands of southern Johor, Malaysia, lies a $100 billion mega-property project named Forest City. It was jointly launched by the Malaysian government and a developer in China. However, nowadays this city is deemed as one of the most useless mega-projects in the world, as well as the biggest ghost town in Malaysia. Forest City is a comprehensive development project of luxury residences. It is located on 4 artificial islands in southern Johor, Malaysia, occupying 1,740 hectares. The total area is 4 times the size of Monaco, a city-state. Forest City is an enterprise of Country Garden Pacific View Sendirian Berhad, a joint venture between China-based developer Country Garden and Malaysian company Esplanade Danga 88. Country Garden holds 60% of shares, while the Malaysian company holds 40%. The Malaysian company is an associate company of Kumpulan Prasarana Rakyat Johor, which is controlled by the state government of Johor. We can tell that this project was strongly supported by the local government. Forest City has a strategic location. It is only 17 kilometers from Tuas checkpoint, with a driving distance of less than an hour. The target of the project were the middle and upper classes in China who traveled to Singapore regularly and wanted to stay in Malaysia. 300,000 unit projects cost $100 billion. At first, the developer was optimistic in thinking that it would attract 700,000 residents and evolve into a self-sustainable city. In their plan, the community would have huge shopping malls, 5-star luxury hotels, golf courses, and international schools. The residents would be able to fulfill all their needs within the community. There would even be entertainment. The New York Times even wrote, "The metropolis will evoke a high-tech Atlantis." Based on the developer's plan, Forest City would be a smart eco-city with skyscrapers adorned with plants. All motor vehicles would take the ground. The most advanced security system would protect every inch of the land. Its promotional video even boasts that it was the pride and dream paradise of mankind. The entire development process of Forest City would take 20 years. Construction was announced to have begun on 2006, with the first batch of units being launched in December of 2015. The developer was targeting international residents with its beautiful environment that was free of pollution, an issue plaguing major cities in China. In addition, they also turned to America boarding schools to set up branch schools in Forest City, featuring Western education as an attraction for high-income groups overseas. Malaysia, My Second Home, launched by the Malaysian government, allowed non-citizens to obtain permanent residency without changing their nationalities and reside in the Forest City with their families. All these factors were directly targeting the buyers in China. The highly targeted development plan met the needs of the middle and upper classes in China. Within a year after it was launched, 80% of units on the first island of Forest City were sold, partially thanks to the relatively affordable prices. In 2016 alone, Forest City raked in more than $1 billion for Country Garden. The units were sought after internationally even before the project was fully completed. It was obvious that many had high hopes for the project. However, now in 2022, only 6 years after it was launched, Forest City has become like a ghost town. Mariel Descalsoda, an insider reporter, visited the place in May. After arriving at the airport in Johor, Barhu Johor, she asked around the locals for information about this city and realized many knew nothing about this $100 billion futuristic city. Descal Soda entered the city in a taxi. As the car entered the destination, she was struck by the size of the development. Descal Soda felt like she had been transported into a futuristic movie set. I saw signs of development everywhere. Dozens of luxury apartment buildings, a sales gallery, a mall, an international school and 2 resorts. What I didn't see were signs of life, she wrote. The reporter was arranged to visit the showroom. She saw the model of the development placed at the center of the showroom. Many apartments were labeled "selling fast" or "sold out," she wrote. She saw that the streets leading to the residential area were empty. Every shop I saw in the complex appeared to be closed, empty or abandoned. I peered through the windows and saw carton boxes and prop furniture, she wrote. Only 3 eateries were open during her visit, with only a handful of dinners. One of the resorts there was bustling with people, mostly golf enthusiasts from around the region, according to Descal Soda. She pointed out that the duty-free shop was the busiest spot in the entire development. Forest City is in a special economic zone, hence it is a duty-free zone, where items like alcohol and cigarettes are very cheap. That was why the patrons are mostly Malaysians instead of the expected Chinese residents. As evening settled around the development, the skyscrapers remained tellingly dark. Only a few apartments lit up at night, she wrote. You might be wondering, how did the sought-after Forest City end up like this in only a few years? We have come up with 3 reasons, namely China government's capital outflow controls, Malaysia's political developments, and COVID-19, which started at the end of 2019. The New York Times thinks the most crushing blow for Forest City came from the Chinese government's capital control since 2017. In a decade since 2008, it is estimated that more than $3.8 trillion flowed out of China. Most of the capital flowed into property sectors outside China. To prevent it from worsening, the government of China adopted a series of aggressive measures to prevent a large amount of capital from flowing out. Many buyers of Forest City became the victims. After they signed the agreements and paid the down payments, the banks would not allow them to transfer money for the balance. In 2017, then Finance Minister II Johari Abdul Ghani confirmed that China government's tightening of capital control had affected not only the Forest City plan, but also the developments in other financial sectors in Malaysia. With the sudden policy changes, Country Garden closed its sales centers in China and turned to Dubai, Japan and Thailand for new buyers in no time. However, as we have mentioned, Forest City was a custom made for the Chinese. Even the road signs in the community are in Mandarin. Malaysians cannot afford the units, and it fails to strike a chord with non-Chinese buyers overseas. Another factor in Malaysia's political development, in the 2018 general election, the ruling party, United Malays National Organization, was plagued by scandals of corruption. Opposing leader Tun Dr. Mahathir Mohamad made full use of the Forest City issues to criticize the government. Mahathir was a former Prime Minister of Malaysia. He thinks that Forest City's development methods had severely damaged the fundamental interests of Malaysia, because it caused a massive amount of capital and job opportunities to go from locals to Chinese citizens. In May of 2018, Mahathir became Malaysia's Prime Minister again. Once he regained power, he changed the previous government's promise about the Forest City, announcing in August that Country Garden would not be allowed to market Forest City to non-Malaysians. The government would also stop issuing visas for non-Malaysian residents. These political factors severely affected the sales of Forest City units. Many Chinese buyers who had paid the deposits decided to give up. That was when the issue of oversupply was aggravated. What followed was the COVID-19 outbreak, which started at the end of 2019. There were more financial uncertainties along with limits on cross-border travel globally. According to the data released by the Forest City sales team in July of 2020, the sales figure for the year dropped by 90% compared to the previous year. Many non-Malaysian buyers who expressed interest became more cautious. After the Malaysian government implemented movement control order, many residents of Forest City returned to their nations. The local businesses also shut down. Thus, the place became even more desolate. Based on statistics released by Country Garden, over 20,000 units of Forest City are sold so far. But according to those who are in the know, there are only a few thousand residents. It is not even 5% of the expected figure. Foreign Policy's 2019 report even showed that Forest City only had around 500 residents. Even though it is called a ghost town, with its development repeatedly hampered, Country Garden is still optimistic about Forest City potential. Well, time will tell whether they are right. Alright, that is all for this video of Rich and Poor. If you are interested in this topic, please comment and share your views. If you like our channel, please subscribe, like and share it. See you in the next video. Bye!